Thanks for joining me in this video. 5 years back, in the year 2014, when I was conducting a corporate training program, I was very much amazed with the building's features and the company's culture and the organizational hierarchy and the employees' behavior ratio and their productivity, the employees' productivity. It was actually an induction training program, but I was spending almost about 3 days. Every single day I was traveling to and fro. It was a good way of shuttling between house and the corporate premises, and I started having a thought that why not we do corporate training programs alone. So that kind of an impression, it was that kind of an impression that the company has given in my mind. So it was January 2014, but it took at least 8 months or 9 months for me to have another corporate training program striking in my profile. Between January till October 2014, I was training college students, and there were plenty of faculty development programs, school programs and stuff. So in the span of 9 months, I was always having a lingering that, okay, why not we get that kind of program? Why don't we promote more from the consultancy's end so that we can attract more such programs? But the mind was not actually concentrating on the college programs. 5 years back, I was not this much matured enough to think. 7 years of my entrepreneurship in the making then. Now it's running 13th year, and I was having a very primitive thinking that I should be doing only this kind of a program, and this is so fun, this is so cool, getting into the corporate premise and speaking to almost 30-40 people and trying to have more fun related activities. But I was not able to identify any difference between the final year graduate students and the inducted people, the inducted employees who attended the induction program. But right now, today is November 7, 2019, 5 years down the line, when I think, I'm trying to get deep down into the root of that thought. Why have I got the thought of going back to the corporate? Why my mind did not gel well along with the programs that I have been doing in the college? Why mind was having this desire of having such program? I should have such program. I should have such program. And I was not able to concentrate on the present. I was not very much gratified. To be very honest with you, I was not showing any gratitude for that level current program that I was having with many colleges and many schools. My mind was focusing on something that was on the other side of the ocean, and I was not focusing on what I was doing currently. How can we guide our thoughts for this week? Because my current week's thought is going to lead the events of the next week, right? As simple as that. You know this philosophy, right? So what you think this week will have its own output next week, and what you think this year will have its own output next year. Sometimes your worries, struggles and troubles are because of the foundation of one single thought. Okay. Now, coming back to my example of always looking forward to have more corporate training programs in corporate houses, I was trying to think, and I was trying to identify, why have I started thinking this thought? What was the foundation of the thought? So, when I deeply analyzing my thoughts emergence, I will get more insight as to my rationalization of the thinking is right or wrong. You will have to understand that sometimes the rationale behind the thought is so vulnerable that it makes you so weak. But if you ask me now, I'm different. I have got this mindfulness practice, and whatever I do at a given point of time, I focus only on that moment. Now I'm recording this video, my mind is only towards this video and nothing else. I was listening to an audio by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and the audio's name was Thoughts Guidance. It's a beautiful audio set. And in that, Dr. Wayne Dyer mentions any thought that is really towards something that you are not having in your hand weakens you. If you are a person who is earning just 3.5 lakhs per annum or 2.5 lakhs per annum, and when you are thinking that the salary is not sufficient for me, I should be raising my bar. If you think that, well, that can be termed as an ambition or as a goal or as a kind of a subsequent planning for raising your standard. That's not really harmful. But what Dr. Wayne Dyer says is, if you are hankering, if you are having that thought that this man has it but I don't have it, if you have that deficiency motivation thought, Dr. Dyer says it weakens you. Any thought of the thing that you don't have, and if you are continuously focusing on the things that you don't have, actually weakens you. He says you got to be very much careful with the root of the thought. So many of your struggles and troubles and worries happen because you have got some insane features in the deep root level of that particular thought. Coming back to my example, I don't want to blame you, but I would like to blame myself on my own example because that's not going to hurt you. So, my example, I was thinking about why am I not getting so much of corporate training programs done? I should have more of corporate training programs than these college programs. I started analyzing the thought. Why did my mind go through that, the fancy of the buildings? Why did my mind go through the level of exposure that the corporate people are giving? Why did my mind go through by terms of comparing the corporate training program along with the college training program, which is a very, very unrealistic comparison and irrational comparison, I would say? Or is that money that the mind was looking for? I put all these things into the paper. I was able to identify the answer. The answer was I was thinking that this is very deficient. Going for college as a resource person, training the college students and training the faculty members of the schools and colleges is not that much resourceful when compared to going for the corporate people. That was the reason. That was in the deep down in the subconscious, and that has made this thinking, getting so much of life. So then what happened was I tried to break that leg of the stool. I tried to break the leg of the table. Right? Okay, I stopped thinking that way. And I inculcated lots of mindfulness, and I went through lots of books. I made a research about mindfulness and how can you focus on the present and stuff. Buddhism came into a very big tandem act, and as you must be knowing, Buddhism is all about living the present and enjoying the present. So when I was able to analyze the deep root level of why the thought has emerged, why the thought has even born, I was able to come out of that worry. It's a weed. It's basically a weed. I thought that thought is something that is very much important and it will be giving me a very good harvest, but it was not going to give me a harvest at all because it was a weed. How do you expect a harvest out of a weed? So I had to take that weed off. The garden was full of weeds and I had to take the weeds off. Likewise, there are plenty of troubles, struggles, miscellaneous worries that you have, and you need to take all those weeds. You need to analyze the deep root level of the thinking. Why at all the thought emerged? Somebody would have put that in your mind. Somebody would have sowed that seed in your mind. And that seed has converted itself as a weed. Somebody would have spoken. You might have watched somebody doing that. You might have observed somebody saying that. And that's where I would like to involve you in this Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Last year in the month of October, I think my YouTube channel contained a short video about this book review. But I would like to reiterate and I would like to remind you about the book one more time. So this man speaks about the rationalization of thinking fast, slow and medium pace. I'm not speaking about cricket bowling here. I'm speaking about thinking. So he says when you are thinking fast, it's kind of hasty. And if you think on a medium basis, it loses its life. But when you think slow and when you think by putting things into paper, and when you think by analyzing why I am having this thinking, where does this thinking lead me to? That kind of process will give you beautiful results. That's what he says. And specifically in part 3, he speaks about that in overconfidence. This chapter speaks about, this entire section speaks about overconfidence, where he says sometimes people think so fast and they roll over the people, they run down people like a bulldozer, and they make the other people feel so low. So thinking fast can lead you that way. And why are they really having so much of that complacency, that superior complex? And they have to analyze the thinking. Each and every thought has to be analyzed, and the root level of the thought has to be really contemplated, retrospected, and then you would be able to come across with lots of wisdom. So what I want you to do is, when you are having a struggle or a worry or trouble, you have got lots of things like that, and I want you to analyze each and every one of your thought. Just like I analyzed my this lingered and hankering feeling of training the corporate people, and I had to take that as a weed. I had to really analyze, and I had to get across that. Now I don't have that, because I'm really happy taking whatever the projects that come by my way. If there are no projects, I stay home, and I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I'm making a lot of videos. I prepare lots of avenues of materials, and I conduct classes for teenagers. So now I'm pretty peaceful, because I know how to implement mindfulness in my life, and I know how to focus on that particular moment. And I have a dream that you also come to that particular stature where, which is going to be very much possible for you only if you do this tactic. Analyze the thought, go down, deep down to the root of the thought, and please identify why you have got that thought. And if you do that rationalized thinking, and if you are identifying that particular thought after all this analysis, you come to know that that is a weed, then take the weed off. And if you analyze, and if you come to a discovery that it is a seed, well, give life to it, nurture it, and wait for the harvest. All the very best to you. Thank you so much. I'll be meeting you in the next video.